Alright Shove It Squad, it's been 2 years since this video was last on YouTube, and it's honestly one of my favourites of all time. It was just so unbelievably bad. I was watching this back and there can't be many as blatant modern day burials of a wrestler. It's just so bad, but in a way that you couldn't look away from what was unfolding on your screen. Well, hopefully this one won't damage your spleen now that it's finally back for good. It's the best I could do whilst my computer struggles to deal with the awesomeness of my year 1 TNA video. Okay, EC3 in the WWE. I doubt this will even get a C. Let's see. Alright, first of all, a bit of backstory, because EC3 has jumped around wrestling promotions a bit in his time. He started out as Derrick Bateman in 2011 NXT, but occasionally, good old Derrick, what a lame name by the way, he'd occasionally be called up to the main roster for appearances. Honestly, WWE should have added expense fees to his contract for stupid name fees. Bateman hung around in NXT until 2013, and yeah, I'm including his time as Derrick Bateman in this video. He went to TNA and completely reinvented himself. Everyone hates on TNA, but EC3 was actually something they did very well. He was a snobby rich punk nephew of TNA owner Dixie Carter, Ethan Carter III. In TNA he was a main eventer, and it looked like he showed WWE what they missed out on. With TNA in trouble financially, all the big stars left. EC3 called it a day in 2018 and went back to the WWE. Strangely, he kept his EC3 name. Maybe Vince McMahon didn't realise that the C stood for Carter, as in his main wrestling rival for the last 10 years. Although in reality, he just probably didn't see TNA as a rival, didn't care about Dixie Carter. They put EC3 back on NXT and he didn't make the main roster until 2019. He still didn't wrestle much though, and continued to mainly appear on WWE C shows like Main Event. He's been in the news recently for his ROH appearances where he's doing this gimmick about controlling his narrative. A lot of people still see EC3 as a missed opportunity as a star main eventer. Some of you probably don't know this, but whilst in TNA he was one of my favourite wrestlers from the last decade. He can talk on the mic, he carries himself like a star, and he actually looks like he could beat the crap out of guys. Wrestlers who look like they dominate in the gym are few and far between today, unfortunately. But then you get some that can actually wrestle and talk on a mic, that's extremely rare. So it seemed like he was a perfect fit for the WWE. So let's find out what went on when he went to the main shows. Enough talking, let's get into it. Match 1, SmackDown, 41-man Battle Royal for a shot at the world title. Remember, he has long brown hair at this point because it's not exactly to see what he's doing in the ring, there's too many bodies in there. A few minutes into the match, he's just hurled out of the ring by Titus O'Neil. They've been feuding on NXT, but because that isn't the main show, the Hawk doesn't care about that. What an appalling start this is. The Battle Royal is won by Orton after giving Miz the RKO from the ring apron. This match is a real turd in a truck stop toilet. Match 2, SmackDown, Ted DiBiase Jr. vs Derrick Bateman with Maxine. They get to introduce themselves before the match in a pre-taped video package as an NXT power couple. Maxine won't kiss him because his breath stinks. It doesn't start well as DiBiase knocks him down and gives him an arm drag. DiBiase also hits a dropkick. Bateman is crashing to the mat every few seconds. Maxine eventually distracts the referee, which allows Bateman to cut a DiBiase across the ropes. Why did the ref need to be distracted for that one? Bateman hits a clothesline for a 1 count. He also hits some sort of net breaker, not sure what that one was. It's not enough to keep DiBiase down and they both exchange kicks in the corner. Bateman whips him across the ring into the corner, but it doesn't have enough impact. DiBiase is now back in this as he does a snapmare, an atomic drop and a running kick. It's not looking good as DiBiase gives him a clothesline. And there it is, Dream Street. It's over in 2 minutes. It's hard to have anything positive to say about such a short match, but the Hawk is a really talented man and I've got some highlights for you. First of all, he didn't lose straight away and he did manage some moves. Second, he hit a move that the Hawk isn't sure the name of, so he must have a deep move pool to out-Hawk the Hawk. And third, as we all know from Lucha Underground, Maxine is extremely hot. It's a D. Match 3, SmackDown, 25-man Battle Royal for a spot in the Elimination Chamber. Ugh, not this turd again. Once again, it's quite hard to see him in the sea of humanity, but he's wearing red trunks here. Within 30 seconds, David Otunga throws him over the top and then slaps his hands off the ropes and he's out. He's the first man eliminated, so it's most definitely an S. The final 2 comes down to David Otunga and Santino Marella. So back in 2012, EC3 was viewed as far less valuable than these 2 morons. Santino wins it anyway. The competition in the Shove It Zone for Season 2 Ring of the Hawk is really heating up. How can there be so many miserable, worthless competitors out there? Match 4, SmackDown, Derrick Bateman, who desperately holds his hands above his head, versus Damien Sandow. Wait, scratch that. Sandow cuts a promo refusing to have this match because he doesn't want the crowd to be treated to his match. Bateman also cuts a promo in the ring complaining that he deserves matches, and he demands a match tonight. So instead, out walks Ryback. Oh no! Bateman charges at him with a boot and tries to batter him, but he runs straight into a boot from Ryback. The crowd chant Goldberg. Ryback presses Bateman above his head and it looks like Bateman's managed to fight it off, but Ryback crashes backwards with him. Ryback decapitates Bateman with a clothesline and then he screams, "Finish him." Ryback wins with the shell shot. This Ryback looks like another guy with some potential. He should go far. The match was a complete squash, but I saw personality in that pre-match promo, so it's a D. Ring of the Hawk is not just about in-ring skill, you have to have a bit of everything to make it as a star on the Ring of the Hawk show. Match 5, SmackDown. Brodus Clay with the Funkadactyls, Quack Quack versus Derrick Bateman, who looks clinically depressed. The fat boy shunts Bateman into the corner and he beats on him. Then he throws Bateman out of the ring like a McDonald's wrapper from his car window. On the outside of the ring, Brodus charges at him as his boobs shake left, right and centre and he headbutts Bateman down. Brodus throws Bateman to the timekeeper's area and then he puts him in the ring. Brodus continues throwing his weight around and there's a lot of it to throw. He hits a corner splash and a fall-away slam. Brodus wins the match with a big splash. I don't think Bateman landed a single move. Brodus dances with a bunch of little kids after the match. It makes me want to swallow my puke, it's an S. Ow! Bateman lost a bunch of matches after this on NXT and then he was done. So when he signed for TNA, no one was exactly impressed with their signing. They had signed jobber Derrick Bateman. Someone in TNA must have had great foresight for his potential, because to be honest, there wasn't much to see here. Match 6, Raw, 5 years later. Wait a moment guys. On this episode of Raw just before the EC3 match, a wild slap match appeared.
Come on Jay, Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, that one was a stretch, but it's been a while. Anyway, back to the Shove It show. Alexa Bliss, a petrified rat, is hosting some sort of talk show. EC3 is just randomly sat there looking bored. Dean Ambrose says he doesn't know who he is and he doesn't let EC3 speak. Some of the crowd seem to know who he is, but lots of them don't also. Ambrose completely destroys his gimmick and asks him who EC1 and EC2 are. This gets turned into a match.
Who is this? Who are you?
That's EC3.
Who are you? What does EC3 mean? Where are EC1 and 2? Why do you hang around backstage like some kind of mute Chippendale dancer?
Oh! I don't understand why he didn't let him speak. Match 6, Raw, EC3 versus Dean Ambrose. Bateman charges straight at Ambrose and takes him down with a double leg. He starts trying to throw Ambrose into all the corners but only makes it through 2 of them. Ambrose tries to do something but he gets an EC3 flying clothesline. Carter hits the Carter elbow, which doesn't hurt Ambrose at all. He gets straight up and he throws EC3 into the corner, shoulder first. Ambrose is now on top, but nothing remarkable is happening. Ambrose gets a 1 count off a clothesline. Dean Ambrose then starts trying to get him to tap, but he can't, and EC3 fights back. He scores a couple of knockdowns and the crowd are in complete silence. In fact, some of them are booing. EC3 throws Ambrose on his back and tries to fire up the crowd, but it doesn't work. Ethan Carter charges into the corner, missing Ambrose, who looks to put him in a way of a powerbomb, but EC3 reverses it into a jackknife pin for the 3. Look, a win's a win, but this was horrible. This crowd completely hated this. EC3 wants to celebrate with the crowd, but only one moron in the crowd cares to engage with him. Well, this match made me want to engage my ass into the toilet bowl. It's a D, and only because he won it. It's kind of a decent start because a win over Ambrose ain't to be sniffed at, but the crowd sucked the life out of this one. Match 7, Raw rematch, Dean Ambrose versus EC3. He surprisingly gets a full entrance. It's surprising that not only his EC3 name is carried over from TNA, but also the 1% are part of his gimmick. He gets quite a big time entrance, but I'm not sure how I feel about all the ass shaking. The crowd are all sat down in silence. No one cares apart from VM Fuso Jr. in the crowd who's drunk or high again. Ambrose is determined to avenge his loss and he charges and attacks EC3 in the corner. EC3 ducks an Ambrose swing and takes a chill pill on the outside. Dean Ambrose is an idiot and chases him to the outside, which allows EC3 to cut him off as he comes back into the ring. Ethan Carter doesn't do very well and he gets an Ambrose flying reverse back elbow. EC3 gets straight back to his feet and dodges an attack which allows him to hit a big clothesline. EC3 then gives him another in the corner and follows it with a second rope dropkick. EC3 goes to his power game now with a big time vertical suplex, holding Ambrose up for a while. I can't tell if EC3 is supposed to be heel or face. EC3 is really trying hard and he hits a scoop slam and a Carter elbow, which is definitely not over in the slightest. EC3 then misses an attack in the corner and crashes into the ring pole. Ambrose is now back in the match and he hits a sidewalk slam for a 2 count. Dean Ambrose then heads up to the top, but EC3 crashes against the ropes, knocking him off. Then out of nowhere, Ambrose wins with a small package. Oh. So much for the push. I thought EC3 was going on a run here. What the hell happened? This was actually a good match, but it was just too short. It's a C. Match 8, SmackDown, 18-person over the top rope mixed tag match. What? So many people in this match. Nobody could possibly care about any of these guys. EC3 actually gets into this one pretty early against Hardy, and the commentary team actually acknowledge their past history, which is strange. He then brings his brother Matt in straight away, and Matt Hardy jumps down with an elbow across EC3's arm. Matt looks like he's trying to break EC3's arm. Hardy follows it with the side effect for a 2 count. Matt Hardy sends him into his team's corner as the crowd chant delete. Heavy machinery in now, and EC3 gets a splash in the corner. The fat guys start joining in with Matt Hardy's gimmick, and then EC3 collapses on the mat like a goofball. He gets hit with the caterpillar, then we go to an advert break. When we come back, EC3 is back out of the match, but at least he didn't get pinned. The match breaks down later on, but nothing interesting happens. He still seems to be brawling with Matt Hardy. He does manage to fight him off, but now he's in the ring alone with Jeff. Jeff gives him the TNA twist of fate, which for some reason in TNA this move became a stunner. Asuka also kicks him in the face, so he's starting to look like a joke in this match. She also throws Hardy out the ring to win the match. EC3 did literally nothing in this match and was beaten up by everyone, it's an S.
Oh, no!
Unfortunately, EC3 was just shoved in the WrestleMania 35 pre-show Battle Royal. Well, at least we don't have to watch EC3 losing another Battle Royal. I did watch it out of interest, and you can see him trying to get out the camera shot at the start. I don't know why that is. As usual, he's out in the first 20 seconds. I think it was Shelton Benjamin who eliminated him, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Match 9, Raw, scramble match for the 24/7 title. Titus O'Neil, Cedric Alexander, Drake Maverick, EC3, Eric Young, Gallows Anderson, Mojo Rawley, and No Way Jose, all just shoved in the match. Lots of TNA links in this one. Speaking of TNA, is it just me or does this match bear a resemblance to the reverse Battle Royal? People do start making it into the ring eventually, but they're too stupid to pick up the belt. EC3 knocks Gallows and Anderson over, but he's unable to pick up the title because No Way Jose takes him out of the ring. Then Bobby Roode appears at the ramp and immediately rolls him up to take the title to him. The easiest S I've ever given in a completely dumb concept. It's funny that as time went on, the ex-TNA guys seem to gravitate together again. Guys who were a big part of the TNA show are a joke in WWE. Match 10, WWE Super Showdown 2019, 50-man Battle Royal. The fact that they had 50 jobbers who they had nothing better to do signed for this company is enough evidence their monopoly on the business was beyond ridiculous. Oh god, out of 50 men, EC3 is literally the first one to be thrown out by Matthew Hardy. Someone behind the scenes actually hates him, I'm 100% certain of that. I'm actually offended that he was rated worse than all the guys in the ring. We've got fat boys, luchadors, midgets, and people who look like they haven't washed in a year. Yet EC3 is the first man eliminated. This match can shove it. I don't give a shit who won in the end, I'm turning it off. On a side note, this WWE pay-per-view is rated 1.6 out of 10. Not a good one then. I'm sure it's just because everyone was offended as I am about EC3's performance in the Battle Royal. After this, it seemed like WWE were toying with the idea of putting EC3 back with Drake Maverick, aka Rockstar Spud. They were a great team in TNA. They had Spud saying EC3 is going to be the best man at his wedding. It's all good, but EC3 can speak for himself. He was booked as a damn mute for the first few months. Why wasn't he given a chance? Match 11, Raw, final match, Rusev vs EC3. I've noticed that as this video goes on, EC3 is overacting more and more. He's doing it deliberately. EC3 charges straight at Rusev with a punch. He keeps outspeeding Rusev, but eventually his crossbody gets caught and he gets nailed with a Chris Harris catatonic. Rusev suplexes him with ease a couple of times. This one isn't going to be going much longer. Rusev sprints at EC3 and boots him in the face. Seconds later, Rusev gets a tap-out victory with the camel clutch. This is just appalling. Ow! I'm thankful that all these matches are so quick, but I genuinely feel bad for the guy. He never had a chance. He wrestled one last match for WWE on their C show main event. It was almost like the comedy team were confused by the lack of his push. They were always saying what an amazing shape he had. The answer is, his fucking shape put 95% of guys on the roster to shame. It just didn't help him. Just to go off on a little bit of a tangent and give you some extra content, EC3 revealed he got in a lot of trouble for something he did back in NXT the first time when he was Derrick Bateman. Back then the show was more of a reality type show and him and Daniel Bryan conspired together to cheat and get the answers right.
I think Daniel thought the great city of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Steve Blackman? Isn't that still within sports?
Steve Blackman's not even a real person. You can't answer that.
Chicks and America. So you can improve on Chicks in America. I don't trust you at all. Byron.
This seems rigged.
You think?
As you can see, it was a hilarious segment, but it also landed him a lot of hot water and it would have caused a lot of problems for him going forward. Maybe some people in WWE management remembered this, even 8 years after on his second run. Anyway, this truly sucked, and although it's not his fault, I'm here to grade what I saw on telly, and what I saw wasn't much. I can see why wrestling fans who only ever watched the WWE would call him a jobber. They never got to see the EC3 that I got to see. Into the Shove It's Only Goes, one of the all-time lows. This run was the definition of blows, and if you don't agree with that, I'll give you a smack to the nose.